on Instagram TV and my laptop on Facebook Live. So let's see how this happens. So it says that I'm live, and I always kind of like to do a little rock out just to make sure that I am. But a little bit about me. My name is Sabrina Walker Hernandez, and I am the president and CEO of Supporting World Hope. And Supporting World Hope is a nonprofit consultant agency that helps small nonprofits start up to $4 million, increase their fundraising, and work with their board of directors by educating them. And so I do these blog summaries because I know as you are running your organization, you may not have time to read a blog. You know, I didn't start reading blogs until after I retired. So I know exactly where you're at in this process. And so I do these blog summaries because I want you to set up a mobile university, and I want you to listen when it's convenient for you. When you're driving in your car and you're going from point A to point B, you can, hit this up on Facebook Live, now on Instagram TV, and I even share it on my YouTube and my LinkedIn. So whatever platform you feel comfortable with, you can hook it up in your car and listen to me. And that's what I encourage you to do. Set up a mobile university, and not only listen to me, listen to podcasts and other things that are going to advance your organization forward. So let's get into this blog summary for today. Love the title. Are you tired of a board that is not engaged? If you are, you'll love this. So one of the questions I continually get is, how do I engage my board? Little side note, all this week I had a free challenge in my group talking about board recruitment, board engagement, board maintenance. So this is kind of a recap and a summary of that. And if you want to actually look at the 3-day challenge, it's live. It is in my group. It will be there forever. It's saved under popular topics, so you can go back and look at this in detail. But I'm going to give you a blog summary. So, if you're trying, how do I engage my board? Well, that answer to that, my friends, is begin at the beginning, and that is recruitment. So why is board recruitment so important and so challenging? Because the job of building a board is more than just filling slots. It is about finding leaders who have skill sets and perspectives that align with your organization's strategic goals, with their strategies, with their goals and needs, and not just now, but in the future. And it's not just, about recruiting one great individual. It's about having the right blend of skill sets, expertise, communication, community connection, and diverse perspectives and spheres of influence across the board as a whole, which takes some discipline and planning to determine. If it is like creating a winning sports team, people, you recruit talented players that fit the team, and then you can start strategizing about spreading your message through your community. The board of directors is a single most important element in determining your organization's success or failure. A saying in fundraising is, people give to people. Therefore, your nonprofit must identify and recruit the right people for maximum effectiveness. So when you're recruiting board members, make sure you're not using the Bubba theory, the selection of board members based on friendships, partnerships, relationships, or just because it's the good old boy or the good old gal system. This method usually fails to elevate the organization to the next level for future needs. Instead, use smart thinking. Take an in-depth look at what the board as a whole needs to round out a well balanced, highly diverse, dedicated group of individuals. You define your board's needs by using the board matrix to figure out what you have in terms of commitment, level of engagement, fundraising potential, added value, etc. Then, you look at the board in terms of skills and expertise. And from there, you will see your gaps. And you can focus on what your organization needs, right? Um, from a board member and what you need them to do and what is missing from your board. So once you have them on your board, one of the primary roles of the CEO, the ED, or the founder is to ensure they become engaged as quickly as possible. So you have to hold a board orientation. You have assembled your team, and your assembled team must have enough information to talk about your organization and to speak intelligently about it. So by the conclusion of your orientation, board members should have a sense of the organization's mission and programs, the organization's finances, the organization's fundraising initiatives, the structure of the board and the staff, and their roles and responsibilities as board members. If you never conducted a orientation for your organization, it's not a bad idea to have every board member attend. There are some organizations that hold annual orientations for all board members. But I say if you are seasoned and your board is seasoned, then have your board members involved in delivering the orientation. But you decide what works best for your organization. Secondly, board members must be given the appropriate role, right? And so find what your board members are good at and keep them involved with these areas of interest. Ensure they are serving on the right committees, and they're assigned the right role in fundraising. And there's a whole another blog series on what are the right roles. And lastly, I want you to have a support structure in place for board members. And that starts with a strong agenda. And so, give me a second here. Sorry about messing up our flow. Told you I was testing, so I'm asking for your space and your grace. And so, I see that might not work. So anyway, you have to start with a strong board agenda, right? And meeting facilitation. So board package should be delivered a minimum of 72 hours in advance, because you want your board members to read the information, become familiar with the information, and if they have a question, the one time I encourage reply all is in that process. They can reach out, reply all, and say, hey, I have a question about this. You can answer, which is going to eliminate some of that unneeded discussion at the board meeting, because you know what, the answers are already been answered. The other thing that you're going to do is you're going to adopt a consent agenda, so that things are streamlined and time is not used to discuss reports in every single detail. But I don't have this in the blog, but I'm going to say this verbally. Please do the consent agenda right. Consent agenda means there is no discussion on the items that are on the consent agenda. It is one motion to approve everything at one time. If you want to discuss something that is on the consent agenda, you have to make a motion to remove that item from the consent agenda and have that discussion. So literally the consent agenda should take less than 30 seconds of your board meeting. So you should kick off your board meetings with a mission moment to remind the board members, why the organization exists, and when you do kick it off with the mission moment, if you have the opportunity to have a client come in and talk about the services and have the board members be able to respond to that and ask questions, that's going to be valuable because your board members are going to get a plethora of stories to tell. Also, you should incorporate generative questions on your agenda. Generative questions are a way for a board to examine an issue and an idea by generating more information about it, identifying the problem instead of trying to solve it, generating questions instead of answering, and making sense before making any decision. So some of those generative questions, or I know generative questions or thinking, it sounds scary, but it's not. So let me give you 5 examples of some sneaky generative questions that you can ask your board. So you could say, I want you to list 5 reasons to put your organization and to put our organization in your will. List 5 reasons why someone wouldn't want to be a donor. As a group, then you can brainstorm on how to overcome those objections. If a donor came to us today and gave us $5 million, whatever that number is, what would be your board's first priority, second priority, third priority? If you had unlimited resources, what is the one thing you as a board member would like to do for the population you serve? 5 years from today, what will the organization's key constituents consider the most important legacy of the current board? Is that establishing an endowment? Is that making sure there was a cash reserve? What is going to be this current board's legacy? So, also, you must be good at communication. This is how you're going to support them and put a support system in place. Have a board calendar in place so board members can plan accordingly. Facilitate communication between meetings, offering your support with setting up committee meetings. Follow up on assignments discussed during board meetings. I hear CEOs say, they said they was going to do this at the board meeting, but then they never follow through or have any action. Well, you facilitate that. You remind them. You be that voice. So that's what you need to do. So follow up on assignments discussed during the board meetings. Review board expectations quarterly. Have a one-stop shop online command center like a Google Drive, where critical documents, past minutes, updates that they need for real-time visibility, and a one-pager that has key facts and figures that they can easily access from their laptop or their cell phone when they're talking to others about your nonprofit missions. About your nonprofit mission. So remember, this is what I want you to remember. Board members are volunteers with full-time jobs, families, and other responsibilities. They want to be engaged. They just need your support in getting things done. So, as a board member once said to me, I serve on several boards, and it's the squeaky wheel that gets my attention. So I want you to squeak. And also, I want you to make sure the board does an annual self-assessment. And if a board member leaves the board and leaves the organization, make sure that an exit interview is done. This will provide you information on where things need to be tweaked. Another way to support and engage your board is building a relationship with them. Seek out their advice. Thank them for investing their time, talent, and treasure. And make sure you do a listening tour annually where you spend one-on-one time with each of your board members getting feedback and assessing their needs because everybody needs is different. Right? I know this is a lot of information to take in. The expectation is not for you to to implement this all at one time. I know you're saying, thank the Jesus. So what I want you to do is just pick two things to focus on. And once those become standard practices, move to the next two things. And incremental change is better than no change at all. So I hope that this helps. And I want you to know the terms that I'm talking about, like the board matrix, expectation agreement, self assessment, board meeting agenda, orientation agenda, and orientation PowerPoint can be found at the VIP resource library. And you can subscribe to the blog or sign up for my weekly newsletter to get the password to this VIP resource library. And how do you do that? Simple. My simple call to action is visit my website at www.supportingworldhope.com. From there, you can access, the VIP resource library. You can access my nonprofit professional exchange Facebook group. You can see what services I provide and engage me in helping you along your journey. So you can even set up a free consultation. So again, call to action. Just visit www.supportingworldhope.com. And if you're watching this from my if you're watching this from YouTube, just subscribe to my channel right down at the bottom, so you can be alerted when these videos go up on YouTube. And you can also hit the live button on Facebook to know when I am going live. So that is it for me for my blog summary. I hope it was helpful. If you have any feedback, comments, great things that you do for board engagement, write them in the comments. You know what? Sharing is caring. And there is no one model fits all. We can all learn from each other and help improve on this journey. So with that, I will say have a great evening.